How's it going, guys? It's Eclipse here, and today we're taking a look at how to play light tanks. So this is going to be part of the How to Get Better at World of Tanks console series, but this will be like a subgroup. So we'll have some light tank gameplay in a variety of videos. This has got one gameplay and also a setup as to the crew skills that you want. So we'll jump straight into the crew skills here. We've got Sixth Sense, Born Leader, Situational Awareness, Muffled Shot, Run and Gun. We've got Last Stand, and we've got Steady Aim, Rapid Loading, Mark Target. And basically what these do is they just help to kind of increase the already good attributes of your tank to make them that much better. We've got off-road driving on the Manticore, but that's kind of a slot which is kind of situational because the British light tanks, really, their whole traverse is a bit weak, considering you'll be wanting to get around tanks and move around to be able to out-traverse them and basically make them kind of a tank that's not going to be able to deal any damage to you because you're just out flanking, out manoeuvring, etc. them. And when you've got slow whole traverse, it kind of makes it you're going to get caught more, is basically what I'm trying to say. So increasing that is just going to reduce the chance of us getting hit, and also the ability for me to make sharp turns, etc., which might save me getting hit, etc. So the consumables that we use is a repair kit, a med kit, and enhanced rations. You could swap out enhanced rations for the engine power one, but that's kind of up to you. It's not really necessary, and it would just boost the speed and also the way that you'll turn, but I prefer the view range buffs that you'll get. So, also, additionally, is something that you might not know, is that camouflage actually, of your tank, actually counts as part of the concealment. So, although it is cosmetic, it does actually provide extra concealment in-game when you apply it. I think I've got a permanent camo on my Manticore, but that's just because I had permanent camo tokens. So we'll move on to some gameplay because I don't want to bore you too much with the stuff in Garage, but it's just stuff you need to be aware of. So enhanced rations, large med kit, large repair kit. Obviously, if you don't have the cash to be able to pay the 60,000 every game, you'll probably want to be running, preference-wise, enhanced rations as the one that you get first for 20k. Then you'll probably want a large repair kit, and then the large med kit. So if you want to remove one of them, I'd recommend removing the large med kit because you've only got 2 crew members in the Manticore, and often a lot of the crew members in the light tanks are actually, there's only a few of them. So you're only going to lose a couple, whereas you'd be losing or have a potential to lose more compared to that of the bigger tanks where you'll probably have 5 or 6 crew members. So yeah, obviously the chances of losing more than one crew member are obviously higher on a tank that has more crew members. So that's just one thing to keep an eye on. So the gameplay we're having a look at is on Sand River in the Manticore, obviously. And it was really a good game, actually. One I wasn't particularly expecting, actually, because Sand River in the Manticore is it's a good map for spotting. You can get a decent amount, but you often get punished a lot by the medium tanks because there's good positions for them to go in, and obviously you don't have the DPM to be able to keep up with medium tanks previously. Where I tend to go on this map is actually up here to begin with at the start of the game, although it is very risky at getting shot recently since they made updates. We try and get some early shots off, basically, and if we can take one shot in total, hopefully like for about 400, and be able to get off a couple different shots on the tanks that cross over in that section where you can see I'm shooting at will basically, help us in the long run. We see an IS-7 there and put one shot into the lower plate of him, which is kind of angled up because he's cresting a ridgeline. I wouldn't recommend ever doing that in a tank like that. We shut down the TD there that's pushed up really, really aggressively. I don't know why you'd want to be doing that in a paper tank. We have to move back there because the T-57 Heavy's coming up. And obviously he's just got absolutely annihilated, and that's the problem. If you're in a big tank, this sort of position is not where you want to be going. Which is the good thing about light tanks, is that they not only do they have the mobility to be able to move from one flank to another, they also have the additional fact that they're actually really small, and so it's really hard for a lot of enemies to be able to actually hit you as we move up to try and kill this Rheinmetall Panzerwagen there, who's already dead. We spot the Tiger Shark, move away so he can't shoot us whilst we're reloading, come back, put one shot into him. He misses us. We know that that's an auto-loader, so we pull back this way. He fires again, misses us. We get round the back of him, put one shot into him and shut him down. We spot that there's two tanks over there, and that's one thing that you need to kind of be good at, is knowing where the enemy team is and predicting where you think that the enemy team is going to be, and also being able to use your mobility to potentially try and duke people into thinking that you're somewhere else when you're not actually. So moving towards one flank when you're spotted, and then potentially swapping where you're going to end up at the end of it. So this game's not looking very good. There's a lot of camping TDs in our base. I mean, I don't blame them when you're in something like a ISU 152, etc. But what we need to do is get some vision out, whilst also providing some sort of benefit to the team. So I need to be keeping my gun going and also spotting. So there we go. We've come into a position where we're kind of going to be able to get shots into the back of tanks, which is somewhere where you want to place your light tanks. So when you're playing them, you want to move up into positions where that you're way out of their view range, but you'll still be able to spot them. So as you can see, I'm in this position here on the dunes, and we're trying to progress the flank whilst also defending the flank at the same time. So I want to get past everyone. We spot the projector there, and he's not seeing us until it's too late. We move up, and in these sort of situations, it's got to the time where I need to actually be doing something. Luckily, we track him and damage his engine there. We do a little jump over him, land on the top of his turret. He's going to hit us here with one shot. It's an autoloader. Got to be wary of that guy. And this is where having the terrible track traverse is annoying. He thinks that we were going to go there. We put another shot into him, and he's rotating the turret. He's trying to predict where we're going to be. He misses there, which was quite lucky. We put another shot into him, and you see that he's going that way. We actually make a quick turn there. He's going to probably hit us again here. There we go. We're on 400 health, but we've taken him out from pretty much full health. Hopefully the Object 268 version 4 doesn't hit me, and we use the ridge lines there to make it a really hard target for him to hit us. We try and hit him on the move there, but one problem with this tank is that the elevation's really bad. So knowing what your tank is like, and also providing some or putting the right stuff in your tank is actually one of the key things to getting better. Because if I set up this tank with fire extinguishers and something that doesn't boost the view range, I'm not going to be able to reliably outspot tanks like the heavies if they've got the extra consumables, which it basically becomes a thing where the heavies get to the base stats of your tank. So if you're not boosting, you're not going to be able to outspot them because they have the same spotting as you. You do have better camo, obviously, because you're a light tank, but it's not enough. We're now in a 1 versus 4, which is not bad. And I actually thought I could win this, although you might see that I do. But there's a Concept 1B, there's a 268 version 4 on full health, there's also the artillery on full health, and that really doesn't have to hit me. It can literally miss me for all my health right now. And it's quite a difficult situation. Manticore gets barely any rounds, which is really annoying. I hate being limited by your game because you haven't got enough rounds. We get spotted there, really didn't know what the hell outspotted me there. Really wasn't sure, but it must have been this Concept 1B. We try and put a round into him by poking over, because obviously element of surprise, they probably wouldn't be expecting that. And we decide we need to move because we're going to get flanked here, and we've got to make some sort of action. We put one into the Concept 1B, but I think we must have got hit by the AT-15 or the Tortoise who hits us there. And we've got to push now because we need to get this Concept 1B out, kill him, and we use the ridgeline there to avoid getting hit. Object 268 version 4 is pushing up, and we try and get ourselves in between the ridgeline there before he's able to get gun depression or get sights on us at all. So now it's a 1 versus 2 against 2 TDs that are going to have worse view range than me pretty much every time. Artillery misses us, and in this sort of situation you need to distance yourself or try and escape, get away, be able to actually use your view range and your gun at long distances to not be able to get spotted at the same time. Tortoise there doesn't spot us. We aim at his cupola there, put one into him, and now he's a one shot for us, which is absolutely fantastic. One problem is that 268 version 4 even on full health. We go undetected, still undetected, and we put another round straight into the Tortoise there without him spotting us, and that's because the trees are in the way. I move back to be able to get those trees in the way of him. Managed to shoot him without getting spotted there. That probably is helped with muffled shot as well, because obviously the 35% decrease in concealment there means that when we fire in a bush, or also just when we fire when we're undetected, what tends to happen is that you'll get spotted because it blooms, or not blooms, but it increases the chance of enemy tanks to be able to spot you. So say if I was sat in a bush and I just fire around at a tank that's stationary at a certain distance that I wasn't spotted, if I shoot, it increases my camo and therefore I might get spotted. So that's something you need to take note of. So say if you're surrounded by 3 tanks, you're undetected in the bush. If the 3 tanks are in a position where they can't shoot you and you can shoot one of them, then yeah, go for it. But if they can all shoot you, if you become undetected and you're gonna most likely get hit by all 3 of them, then do not shoot, because it's not worth it for you. Yes, you might get one shot off where they weren't expecting it, but it's more than likely that you'll just get killed. So here you go. When we shoot this 268 version 4, we tried to aim for his cupola, we got spotted. That's a prime example of what happens when you fire. So now what we want to do is distance ourselves from this 268 version 4, use our view range to be able to outspot him and outmaneuver him. Unfortunately, we've got a very, very limited amount of rounds, and what happens is we basically run out against this guy. I mean, in hindsight, I probably should have gone to the cap, forced him to move out, but he was using positions like this where, in hindsight, I definitely should have just gone and capped, because that would have put pressure on him to move up, at which point we could have outmaneuvered him, got around him, put our shells into him where he could not actually be able to hit us. Unfortunately, we didn't do that, and that effectively cost me the game, and which was a real shame because I actually should have just gone for the cap. I don't like capping. Capping is not something I ever do, really. And it's just because I don't enjoy it. It gets you less XP for a win. If you can win without capping, then it's 100% better. And what we did with this 268 version 4, it's a good play to be able to keep your opponents guessing and constantly moving and spotting them from different angles. It's always perfect to do that. As you can see, the 268 version 4, we would have caught him out, but unfortunately we bounced and only damaged the tracks, which is really annoying, especially when you've only got a limited amount of rounds. And that's one thing you need to keep in mind when you play your light tanks is repositioning and moving and just constantly keeping your opponent guessing, staying undetected for a long period of time and poking the same corner because they might think that you've moved, so they're going to aim elsewhere, because why would you have waited like a long time to be able to repoke the same corner? And that's something you need to think about. I realised that I didn't get in the cap soon enough, and that's pretty much the end of the game there, ending up in a defeat. It was a close defeat, obviously, and had I had more rounds in my tank, I probably would have won that game. 268 version 4 didn't look particularly like he knew what he was doing in a situation like that. He wasn't prepared to advance, and that's something that you need to keep note of in your light tank. Kind of see how your opponents react to your decisions and see whether their skill set is probably higher or lower, and then you can decide upon what you want to do. In that game, obviously, I should have just capped. Would have won me the game pretty much from what I'd guessed, but I left it too late, and there we go. And we ran out of rounds to be able to carry on shooting that guy, so unfortunately we lost, but I still enjoyed that game. I found it really fun. I would have loved to get a Kolobanov's, but unfortunately there was only 4 tanks left alive at the end before we got left alive, and that was kind of annoying. But we did manage to get 6,600 damage and 2,600 assisted. Lost 50k, but that's probably just because of the consumable cost at the moment, which I think is kind of way too high for what it is. Losing 60,000 credits on top of any premium rounds that you pay. Yeah, it's just not ideal. I don't think that you should have to pay that much more just to get reusable consumables, as well as being able to reuse your consumables that also repair all of your modules. I mean, I get it. If the benefit of using a premium large repair and first aid kit is that you can, repair all of your modules at one time, but the fact that it gains a boost to be able to repair all of your modules, as well as being able to have an extra increase in the repair time, I think it is, whilst also being able to reusably consume the large repair kit, and the standard one isn't able to repair all of them, and it doesn't get any of the other benefits. So I think that what Wargaming need to do with that is actually give the ability to reusable, to make the small repair kits reusable as well. Because it's just not fair that you have to pay 20k to be pretty much, advantaged in the game. It's just not fair. I don't think that that's a good system that they've got right now, and I hope that that's something they look into in the future. And I don't think that driving your players to lose so much silver every single game because they feel like they need the consumables and the premium rounds is a good system, and you're just going to end up annoying and making your players angry, and that's not something you want to do on a game like this, especially when it's a free-to-play game. they've come on this game to enjoy the game. If they aren't enjoying it, then they'll leave. There's no money commitment that they've already made unless they've obviously purchased premium tanks, premium time, etc. So that's just something you need to think about wargaming and hopefully make some changes on that. But anyway, summing up a light tank gameplay there, what you need to do is move around, get behind your opponents, make sure that you're spotting your opponents when it's actually necessary. Don't bother spotting opponents at the beginning of a game where no one can shoot them. I mean, go ahead and spot them at the beginning of the game if you know that you're not going to get hit, but don't take risks at the start of a game to spot the opponents, because that's the time where they're not really needed to get spotted, because half of your team aren't as fast as you and they're never going to be able to see them at that kind of point. The amount of times I see people YOLOing down into the middle of El Haluf, spotting the enemy team that are all in their base, getting killed, and then realising that they didn't get any spotting damage because, unless it's artillery, because they've literally spotted them where their whole team can't actually shoot them. So what's the point? So being able to choose when you're actually spotting is something that you'll learn as you play light tanks. Don't YOLO in, that's never a good idea. And also, if you're an auto-loading light tank, do not YOLO at the start of the game to get a full clip of damage off. Like, if that's what you're doing, it's one of the most infuriating things for all players regardless. Your team get annoyed because you've wasted your life, you could have done so much more. You're probably not even going to pen all your shots, and also it's not a good use of your time, because, you know, yeah, you might have got 3 shots off and dealt potentially 1,000 damage, but if you just waited, you probably would have got 1,000 damage in no time anyway. So it's a case of keeping yourself alive with light tanks and being able to put yourself in a position where you're benefiting your team, keeping yourself out of the enemy team's view range whilst also spotting them, like you could see with that tortoise in that game, and also the 268 version 4, making sure that you kind of are constantly moving in and out and moving around to keep your opponents guessing, and aiming for shots that you know are going to track and pen, and just trying to be a real nuisance to the enemy team. And that's my way of playing light tanks. It might not be the best way, I don't know, but that's something that I've done to be able to get win rates of 60+% in my light tanks, etc., and done really well comparatively to some of the other classes. Like, I really don't like playing heavies because they just don't have the mobility. But anyway, I hope you guys have learnt something from this video. I hope you guys have enjoyed, and please leave any recommendations if you want me to play certain light tanks. I might not have all of them, but I have got things like the Sheridan, I've got the 13105, I've got the Manticore, I've got the T54 lightweight going towards the T100 LT, so I've pretty much got them all. I know that I haven't done many. I'm on the tier 9 in the German light tanks as well, so I'm nearly got them all. So yeah, I'm on the tier 8 in the Chinese as well, I think. So I'm moving towards them all, and I should be able to get some more videos highlighting light tank gameplay and kind of showing you how to actually perform well in light tanks. Other than that, I hope you guys have enjoyed. I hope you found it informative. If you want to have any questions, leave them in the comment section. If you want any specific questions, leave them in the comment section, and I'll try and answer them. If you need specific setups, etc. for different tanks, feel free to ask in the comment section. I know that not only me and some other people will probably help you, so yeah, if you need anything else, just drop it in the comments. Subscribe to see any more content coming up, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Goodbye.